Good day, friends. It's the 12th of February. Short video today. Listening to how the British government is now trying to talk with the EU to reapproach on trade. Because England, one, gets shafted by its owners, the US, and its goods aren't welcome in the US, and they're sure still not going to get in there duty-free. Because, as they were told, they form unneeded competition to American goods. And Europe, being out of the European Union, England has sovereignty, political sovereignty, but economically, it got whacked for $60 billion just last year. You know, and the question is, how inbred and stupid are the British politicians? Don't answer that. I realize how inbred and stupid they really are. England had an opportunity 2 years ago. England had a hell of an opportunity to rip out of its Russophobic box that it's been in for the last 300 years, reach out to the other side of the European continent, and form a strong trade bond. There was a lot of optimism when Brexit started kicking in that maybe things will change this time around. But it's the same damn inbred family sitting in power in England as they always were. Even if some of them are now Indian by heritage or Pakistani, it doesn't really matter. They're just as inbred and just as ignorant of reality, and they fall right back into the habits. So instead of reaching out and forming a strong trade union, or just strong trade bonds, with a market of over 150 million people just in Russia, never mind Central Asia, and other areas, the Eurasian Union, for example, which is about 100, just shy of 230, 240 million people. The English chose to be their usual dickhead selves, and launched themselves into basically a full-on war. Yeah, we're killing Englishmen in Ukraine, by the way. More than a few of them. According to Mossad, it's been, about 2,500 NATO troops have died, plus almost 6,000 mercs, that most of them were former NATO troops, and several hundred NATO instructors. Yeah, a lot of those spoke with that, English accent. And they're dead, and they'll be pushing up birch trees one day, where the corpses are, after the rats finish, and the rats and the pigs and the rabid or wild dogs finish eating them. That's what you get for going to fight with Russians. So England did stupid, as England has a tendency to constantly do stupid. England discovered us, because we didn't know we got lost, but England discovered us in the 1500s. During the rule of Ivan Grozny. As you probably all heard of him, Ivan the Terrible, which is a crap translation. Well, it's a propagandistic translation from Russian into English, because Grozny doesn't mean terrible. Grozny means feared. It's Ivan the Feared, Ivan the Fourth. But the English are the English, so what else can you say about them? At that point, the English were just an island of pirates, a dirt poor island of pirates. We just got their butts kicked by the French and right off the continent. So what were the English? Where did the English discover us? They discovered us up in Arkhangelsk. If you don't know where Arkhangelsk is, look north of Moscow. And when you hit the ice seas up north, the Arctic Ocean and the seas around it, yeah, that's where Arkhangelsk is. So the next logical question should be, what the hell were the English doing that far up there? Well, in our case, they decided to trade, because they got up to Arkhangelsk, found a fortress with cannons. And they said, let's trade. And opened a trade mission from there. But what were they doing up there? Well, there's a better question. How much were white, blonde slaves, particularly women and small children, going for in Istanbul, or at that point Constantinople, to the Ottoman Turks? There's your answer. The English are busy raiding Norway, raiding Iceland up and down, stealing women and children. because they were nothing but an island of pirates. They stopped being an island of pirates when they started raping India and moving all the wealth there and started building up their own society. But at that point, they hadn't quite gotten to India yet. India was dominated by the Ottoman Empire, and the Portuguese were fighting it out, as well as Netherlands were trying to get their edge in. But the English were still at that point pretty much just a dirt poor island. So, yeah, and even as they were trading with us, they're spreading rumors about us, they're lying, and so on and so on. So, basically the English have been doing the same thing that the English have been doing for the last 300 plus, 400, well, let's guess it'll be about 500 years. In old Tsarist times, there's even a saying, Aglichanka, gaddet. The English woman will gadget is hard to even translate in English. When you do crap things, when you shit on somebody, particularly behind their backs. So that's the saying, gadget. Aglichanka, gadget. The English woman will basically shit behind your back. So yeah, that pretty much describes the English aristocracy, the English elites, and the English business class, as it was 500 years ago, as it is today. And the English serfs are now being sent off to die. Stupidly die. If you really think you're going to beat us, I mean, you've got to be bottom of the lake pond scum intelligence level. You're not. You ain't got enough Englishmen there. But we'll thin the herd even more if you really want to go for it. You could have had trade. You could have had a good relationship with us. But no. As usual, you chose stupid. Is it genetic? I don't know. Cultural? Absolutely. Maybe God will give you a little something to boost like a kick in the balls one day and get that intelligence flowing. Or maybe not.